good? All right. Try this again. I can't talk about renderings again. I can't do that. I can't run it back.
It was very spontaneous.
Yeah, it was.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, basically. Renderings in Jacksonville. That's what we're about. Projecting the future, the impossible future.
Like, that's the thing about what we do is most things that you listen to. Now, it's gotten away from it these days, but most things, like especially on radio, it's all kind of scripted out. Like, we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about this. So if something like that were to happen, they'd just run it back from the top. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. It's like I already said what I want to say. It's not like we feed off of the other one hearing something for the first time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not a good run it back guy at all. But it is a Sports Den brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Make sure you get to ABC. This weather, man, this weather. It's actually nice today. Yesterday was cold.
Yeah. Next couple of days is gonna be nice. Well, let me rephrase that. Tomorrow is gonna be another like 70-ish degree.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, and I think Sunday's supposed to be rainy.
Oh no!
And then all next week.
Is it really?
Mid-50s.
Because we are overbooked this weekend, and the plan was to take kids outside.
It's a pretty high percentage. I'm actually kind of praying for rain.
Why? So you can sleep?
Well, yeah, I haven't had a problem doing that lately. I feel like an old ass man. Like I'm like normally I've been like I could go to bed at 1, wake up at like 5 or 6, go do something. Maybe I'm a napper. I can take a nap, but
I
like
cannot nap.
Lately, I'm legit cigar smoke, kids in bed, everything. I've been in bed 10:30.
That's good.
And then I'm waking up just in time to get boys to school. Like I'm really, really shocked.
That's good. Ever since we bought the new mattress,
that helps. I gotta get it. It's that time.
It is, man. It's like I thought I was being sold because we got the instead of the box springs, we got the electronic thing where it can raise your feet up and all that kind of stuff. So worth the money, man. It's so worth the money. Ever since we bought the mattress and that, it's like I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed. I don't want to lay in it anymore. I feel like rested.
I've got like a memory foam.
Well, I'm not going to give the name of it because they're not paying us.
Right. It's time though. Let me know what you got.
Yeah, I will. It was good stuff. It's really good stuff. But get to ABC. That also can help you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If you have enough ABC.
It's a difference between wine drunk and liquor drunk.
What do you mean?
Like
sleeping or just in
wine
general?
Makes me go to puts me to sleep and I wake up feeling a little bit different. Liquor depends on which one I drink. I could go strong or whatever, but like when I'm drinking wine, it don't take like a lot of glasses to get me.
I know I'm with you,
and I don't know how I feel about
wine. Lights me up, man. But I'm the same way. It's like if I drink wine, I don't really want to do anything. And then the problem with wine, here's my problem with wine is you're like, it's wine. It's not liquor, right?
Right.
So what's one more glass gonna hurt? And you have the one more glass, and now the room's spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever get that way with whiskey or bourbon or any, like that doesn't happen to me.
Like my body knows when to stop with liquor.
Right.
Like it just is like, okay.
Even if I pour one,
yeah,
and I take a drink, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll pour it out. But not with wine.
Wine is like, and I don't know. I am not a glass half full type guy.
Okay.
If I have a glass, I need it to be filled.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because wine looks like juice to me.
I know. I'm with you on
I'm not about to pour half.
Because I'm not gonna do the little
swish
juice. Around thing.
What sense does that make? Now, I understand the power of liquor. So I'm not feeling my liquor, but I feel it. Actually, now that I think about it, I pour it pretty good.
Yeah.
But like if you like people be having this much air or like, about an inch or too much of air in their glass, and that makes no sense to me. But I might as well fill it to the top, give me my money. And when I'm looking at the person at the restaurant, if I go get it, I'm feeling fancy. No, I want my cup filled to the top. Don't care what it looks like.
James' cup runneth over.
Yeah, like I didn't come here to sip and chat. I came here to drink.
You want it to where when you pick it up, there's a chance a little bit spilled?
Yeah. I want to have to drink And like I don't want it to like if I can't just lift it straight up because it's gonna it needs to fling on people.
Well, that's the great part about going to ABC because nobody else needs to fling on people.
Yeah, I need the juice. I need to feel like I'm rich because I got so much. I'm paying this much per glass. Damn it, I better be my thirst should be quenched.
Dude, when I sent you that Kyler Murray thing last night,
that was hilarious.
I wasn't kidding. Like I watched that. Have you ever had whiskey come through your nose? It burns.
No, that's
It burns. That's how hard I laughed.
I'm glad I was like on my downward spiral when you said that because that was hilarious, man.
Anyway, get to ABC, then you don't have to have anybody else pouring your stuff for you. Yeah. You can pour all the wine you want. If you want to put a straw in the bottle, there's no judgment here. You do you. It's 2022. Do whatever you want to do. I got a couple things I want to get into today. I want to start with something that came up. I did Gator Bites this morning at the flagship, and something interesting came up that I think maybe I had a very different take than most. I'm not going to say Gator fans, but fans, and I didn't realize that my take was so different. Okay. So the subject of the transfer portal came up, and to be specific to Florida, has signed
Raging Cajuns East,
Southeast? 3 Louisiana guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
It just feels like so much more, but yeah, I got
you. And one of them's like legit. I don't know about the other.
The inside line, the offensive lineman. Yeah, he hasn't given up a sack his entire career.
Yeah, and like he's got draft grades, and I looked him up on that little.
No, he's actually
he's legit. But that's irrelevant to me, whether how good they are or not. It aggravates me. Like, I don't like this. I think it is a lack of character when you leave a school and then you go back and you poach that school. And it's not, here's my thought behind it. They paid you when you were there. They were your come up. You recruited those players to go to Louisiana. Right now, those players can enter the portal and they can go where they want to go. But if I just got done paying you for 3 or 4 years very well, and you just got your dream job, don't kick me in the nuts and then take my best players. Let them go somewhere else. I think it's a morality issue. And I've been consistent on this because I said the same thing about dude that went from Oklahoma to USC and how all the recruits decommitted right away. I have a little more tolerance for that.
Because they haven't picked yet.
Right.
Per se.
But even that, like you were recruiting those guys on Oklahoma's dime.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I said this, and Hacker was like, oh, I don't even understand that. I don't even understand how you're. And the comments were the same as Hacker.
Come on. You want me to give you
Am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay. Educate.
Here's what I'm learning. And you could educate me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at this in multiple lenses, right? It's troll bait or it's terrible if somebody else does it. But when your gang does it, it's the absolute right thing. And it's the smartest thing. It's the most efficient.
It's for the kid.
And it's for the kid. So how one of the things that I always found interesting, right, was when Coach Norvell left. Now, this was before the portal, like the transfer portal and everything became official, or maybe it was official. It was still relatively new. I think I think the year
transfer
before,
portal, but no free.
We talked about it in 2019, I believe.
The portal started in 18.
That's what. Okay, my bad. It started in 18, but it didn't really become truly like this until everybody, one, they gave you the free year to transfer, and then two, they gave everybody that extra COVID year.
Right.
So when I found out, you saw heavy grad transfers was the big thing, which was, again, like when people talk about transfer portal, the grad transfer has been around for well over a decade.
It's actually a dope.
Yeah, I think that's okay. You've done what you served your time.
Especially when people are graduating.
You got your degree, and now you're going to go somewhere else, whatever. When Mike came, Mike had a quarterback, FSU, who had graduated and still had 2 more years, I believe, at the time. Florida State was kind of in quarterback limbo. Didn't know what was going on.
They hadn't signed one in a decade.
There was an offensive lineman that had hit the portal. There was a whole bunch of people who hit the portal, and not one of the Memphis players came to Florida State. So one of the things that I was just like, was damn, was this Mike Norvell's out? Because again, it had nothing to do with me not liking Mike or not. I think a lot of people don't understand that you can have critique over somebody. And actually, the people who I like the most, I'm genuinely the hardest on.
Yep.
Because I believe in them and I want them to do more. And, good is good, bad is bad. If I have questions, I ask questions. So that was one of the questions I asked. But then I thought, that's not right. Because his OC is not the head coach.
Yep.
You hired this guy. You helped put him on his feet. You've gone to greener pastures to make more money. Hey, don't raid where you were at. And then he didn't. And then obviously when you go from Memphis to Florida State, a likely transition is my recruiting board can't look the same at Memphis as it does at Florida State. I've got access to better
maybe
kids.
2 or 3, but not. Yeah.
Now, one that I did understand. I understood why he went after him. I didn't like him. Still don't like him. Congratulations, though, on your commitment to Nebraska and Purdy. It's not like him as a person. I just didn't like the fit at Florida State. But when he was at Memphis, that's the girl I think I can get, but I'm gonna out pump my coverage if I don't get this person. Oh, well, shoot, I'm at Florida. I got the Lambo now. I'm about to pull up on. So you knew I got that one. I understood that. You can go, that person stays on your board because you didn't think that person was coming to Memphis anyway. You feel you can get them at Florida State. So again, that was my first thing. Now, when I'm looking at it from this perspective, I see Florida State. I see Florida fans and Miami fans. I'm using the Trinity. Is that when somebody gets a 3-star, it's a bash. Oh, you got this person from a G5, this cat's watch, except for your 3-star. Your 3-star can't lose.
Under recruited.
Your 3-star is that dude. So I'm saying all this to say is that in given the source of who you were discussing with, there's not a thing that Florida can do that's bad. Florida's national championship contenders next year per 10-10. And not you with Gator Bites, but every year that they've been, whether it was a 4-win season, whether it was a 10-win season, I have yet to ever hear anything preseason or during the offseason be negative consistently from a lot of the people who consistently follow Florida.
And most of them went to Florida.
Right. And then same thing, but I say that, but the same thing with Miami. Miami is not in the situation where they're going and getting all of the guys from Oregon. They have gotten a couple commits from football, but Miami got approved. Was it $9 million approved for their assistant coaches pool?
Yeah,
and still don't have coordinators.
Yeah,
you have the most in the state, and you to spend, and you can't get anybody to say yes. Kind of similar to what happened with Tag. Like Tag went thought he was bringing the Oregon staff. Uncle Phil made that no. Then your first 3 or 4 people said no to you. And now you got to really open up the checkbook and maybe overpay for guys who aren't necessarily there yet. But going back to your Billy Napier stuff, I don't think Billy Napier is a bad person. I just don't think that's right to go back.
That's exactly what
you're harming, because didn't they promote one of his assistants too?
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of those, that's what makes it even worse.
Like you're an aide, let's picture you're the AD at Louisiana. And you brought Billy Napier in. You gave him what he wanted. You gave him what he asked. Now, he held up his end of the bargain too.
You won.
But you paid him on time every 2 weeks or whatever their pay structure is. Y'all won a conference championship. Louisiana was super gracious with Florida through the whole process. They came down there, interviewed him. Louisiana had this big send-off for him, like all that kind of stuff. And then, bam, he starts taking your 3 best players and bringing them with to Florida. I don't have anything at all against Billy Napier. I think he's doing some great things that haven't been done at Florida that people just needed to ask for. And we'll get to that in a second. But this isn't a Billy Napier thing. To me, and this is where I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't think it's anti-player to put some little subtle rules in this transfer portal. I think there's a balance. Like, I don't think by me saying, look, you can't follow your coach the year after he leaves, I don't think that's anti-player.
No, I think that's balance.
Because there's another 130 schools, and if you're good enough, like in fact, all these kids, LSU came after. Like, so if you're good enough, you're gonna have a chance to go somewhere else. But I don't think I could do that. And maybe I'm not seeing the whole story. And when I talk to Billy, I'll ask him about it, because I do want to understand why this is becoming a thing all of a sudden when there's plenty of players out there in the portal?
I think there's also I think it's some of it's smart. If the player was hitting the portal anyway, I'm gonna try to get him. If I didn't woo, like I don't know how the woo happened. If it was like, hey man, come here, I'll bring you.
But see, that's the thing. But he's in the portal because you left.
Right. No, I'm saying like if he's in the portal because then that means the relationship was here. He doesn't have faith. He was going somewhere anyway.
Yeah, I still don't think you can say.
I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I'm looking at it from now a perspective of not necessarily Oregon because Tag wasn't there long enough. What if Tag could have went from South Florida to Florida State and maybe brought the South Florida people who understood the system? Would it have worked better? If
almost like coaches,
if Mike Norvell could have brought his quarterback in, and from everything that we were hearing this time last year was that wasn't what we ran in Memphis. We didn't have the people, blah blah blah. Woo, woo, woo. Would that have been different if you would have been able to get a left tackle who had a draft grade, your quarterback who is a good college player right now, and maybe a wide receiver that hit the portal when you left? Would that? Who knows? But right now in Napier, I think it was a running back, an offensive lineman, and I can't think of anybody else. But will it make your offense run faster?
It was 2 offensive linemen, wasn't it?
Might have been. Will it be better if they come? Will you have less teaching? Will you have guys who could, even if they don't come in and beat somebody out?
I'm sure it will be better. Like that's not. There's one side of me that goes, okay, Billy Napier is getting a lot of money to win football games.
Mm-hmm.
So you win football games. And listen, if they go to SEC championship next year, if they beat Georgia, I don't like this is water under the bridge for me. I don't care. But it doesn't change. It doesn't change my feelings on the morality behind it.
Oh, no. I think, we joke about stuff all the time. There's the right way to do things, wrong way to do things.
I mean, one of the kids, but then you got to win 360. Like, why was he in Louisiana to start?
I don't think he was a great issue, late bloomer, or just really the Louisiana food stick, man. I'm just saying, like, once you get there,
maybe he was 315.
Yeah, he was 315 when he got there. Now he's, he
hit mothers a couple times.
Yeah, he really hit puberty this time. So like
now he's coming in with clogged arteries.
Right, like he might not last long. Hypertension, diabetes, and all that other good stuff. But like, hey, but nah, I don't. I see the wrong in it, but I don't see the wrong.
Yeah, it's gray.
If you're gonna win, if this is gonna be what makes winning go faster at Florida, then I'm sure people. And that's all that most of the people who are commentating really care about. I mean, I've said it before on this show. And yeah, unless you have like a real relationship with the kid, you really don't care about these guys.
No, it's transactional.
Like I'm saying not you, but I'm saying like most fans.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like, and if the kid transferred, like, because I was saying this about, transfer portal in general. We got a kid with one another. Seems like we won't bring you in at Florida State if you've got 2 legs and 2 arms. Like you got to have something wrong with you. Like there's an Oregon running back who out of high school was great,
bulky over there,
but that's what it feels like. I mean, you remember KZ only had 1 leg. Lieutenant,
Kenzie Milton.
I don't know how. I hope he did well in his All-Star game. I didn't watch, but the kid from Oregon, not Pittman, but the running back, he had a knee brace on his visit. And people were like, wow, oh my God, why are we taking it? There's no need to take this guy. There are plenty healthy running backs in the transfer portal. A lot of fans who are pro don't have any questions for anything that the staff does. Everything, actually, the only thing they question is him keeping certain staff members. But outside of that, they don't question anything else. But I was saying this because they'll say he just needed a new scenery. He's a good kid. Give him another chance.
Yeah.
Our guys that get pushed into the transfer portal, they were a cancer. Terrible person. Get him out of here. Like, he kicks poodles. Like stuff like crazy things like that. I'm like, no. So you mean to tell me that the guy who's leaving the school, no red flags, nothing that bothers you at all.
It's one way.
The guy that we recruited, though, that
turd.
You were happy about 2 years ago, just has to be a turd without any information. Just has to be a bad person, and I think that's really where
stopping. Like, I'm trying to think of the school that I want to tag this. Like,
Georgia, Alabama, or Georgia,
like Georgia State. Let's take Georgia State for a second. Georgia State is in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Their stadium's weird because it used to be the Atlanta Braves stadium. They've converted it, but it's nice. It's nice. That's where they had the state championship games, and
that's Georgia State's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They bought and put like $100 million into that stadium to make it into a football stadium.
Nice.
The city helped them, right? And so, what's stopping them from saying we're in Atlanta? We have facilities, decent facilities. We're not going to sign any high school guys. We're only going to sign that. We're going to be a portal only program. And I'm not saying, I'm saying Georgia State because the Atlanta, you could probably think of other places that are not going to sign a ton of 3 or 4 stars, if any, in a regular recruiting class. So why don't you just go all portal?
Because it's still as questionable as high school. And what I mean, not necessarily for one, how do you get me to leave? If I leave Alabama and I'm a 5th-year guy from Alabama, probably gonna get a lot of looks from other places.
Yes.
What is Georgia State gonna offer me?
I think if you went through right now, you went through the 247 transfer portal, and you went to the guys that are mid-level, they don't have a lot going on.
So, but again, and it's what I said a couple of shows ago. What it goes back to is the mind state of everyone has to change. The top schools are bringing in high school kids.
Yes.
When I looked at that, nothing has changed.
Yep.
So, like quarterback side, I believe you.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But everybody else was saying, "Oh, well, kids who normally got that's the problem. That kid who normally got in, maybe in 2 to 3 years will develop into something. But that kid is probably a great FCS player and not an FBS player. Like Bow's, make sure I said it right. Bowl division, whatever.
All right.
They're not D1. They're
right.
D1 AA, maybe D2. We need to learn that you can play a good level of football on a lower level. But the problem is these guys who got gifted into something that they probably weren't ready for are looking for the exact same thing. And the transfer portal, what needs to happen is, and what people need to realize, when you enter that, you're entering that knowing that you're probably not going to get the same level of interaction as you got before, unless you're this kid, Jared Verse, who's from the University of Albany, who Florida State just signed. He was one of the top FCS defensive ends.
Dude, Albany has some dudes.
Right.
Like, because they've had 2 or 3 of those cats.
That's what I'm saying. So like that. So if you go to, let's say you go to FAMU, or let's use 2 kids, Coleman and Travis Hunter from Jacksonville State, or Jackson State, excuse me. If they go out and they ball in the next 2 years, and they're just absolutely bored, in the Bleacher Report, and the Barstool money's dried up, you know what's gonna happen when they hit the portal?
Yeah.
Everybody and their mom is going to want them, and it's going to be a step up from Jackson State. Now, the guy from Florida State that ain't played in 3 years, when you enter the portal, the odds are really, really high that you're going to have to go down. So humble yourself.
Well, to your point, I just thought Texas State did this a couple years ago. And so I went to look at their results. They were 4-8 last year. So it hasn't worked out. Although they did finish second in their division behind Louisiana, but yeah, 4-8. My only thought was like, okay, maybe I can go get, a guy that was a 3 or 4 star from Georgia State where I couldn't before out of high school. That was my only thought, but I don't know. I just think it's going to be interesting the next couple of years with this portal.
I think what this is how it should happen, and this is what I think is going to happen with HBCUs. I think they're going to be able to implement that a little bit more than others. If I'm that guy from Bama and Deion Sanders is the coach, and we look like they look like they're at least having a good time winning ball games, I'll entertain that. Grambling hired he was a terrible NFL coach, but he was an NFL coach, and he's going to bring an NFL staff. I can't think of the guy who's at Cleveland.
Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson. I'd go there if Georgia State, like if some of these schools would just go and say,
isn't Eddie George at Tennessee State?
That's what Eddie George. Like, I would hire a guy with names and connections. That'd be who I'd hire before anything.
Yeah.
And then work that. You know what I would do outside the box? And this sounds weird. And I'm not saying hire this guy, just using this guy's two guys as an example. Because this is what college is going to have to become anyway, because of transfer portal. I'd go hire a Caldwell or Balky and make them an athletic director or like some kind of assistant athletic director. And here's the reason why. Because one, you are, no matter how bad they are, they still have relationships to the NFL, which is the only reason you go. Because, like, you know, you could, degrees, blah, blah, blah. You're going to keep playing for the opportunity to go make money.
Right.
Playing the sport. You get an AD with scouting experience, general manager experience, and then why do you hire that person? That person's sole job isn't to break down game film. Their sole job is to look at who may be the potential guys entering the transfer portal, and your job is to scout them, develop them, and now you have a board coming out, much like the NFL has with like you're supposed to have a director of pro scouting. That pro guy doesn't look at college guys. He literally looks at the 32 NFL teams, who's there, who can they bring on to make them better next year if they get the opportunity.
I think it's going to happen. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, again on Gator Bites, is when you look at what Florida's doing recruiting wise, really all they've done is they gave Napier a fair assistant coach pool, but then they gave him a really good off field budget, like huge budget. Probably, I don't know this, but I would have to think it's probably top 3 or 4 in the country. What was it, $5 million?
It's like 5.5.
Yeah. Everybody's going to catch up to that.
That's what a lot of people spend on assistant coaches.
Right. Yeah, people are going to catch up to that. But when you have that many people, you can create like a social media tidal wave, and you can create, things that you can't create with $1 million and 5 people.
Right.
Right. And so that's why you keep seeing these hires. And the question was asked to me, well, why didn't they do this 10 years ago when Alabama did it? Well, because it was so crazy at the time.
It was
Alabama and Georgia were ahead of the time with this. And everybody was like, I can't imagine spending more money on our recruiting staff than I'm spending on my head coach. At the time, that's what it was. Now, if you think about it, if you're a school and you want to play ball, you've got to go $7 million on a coach. You've got to go $7.5 million on assistant coaches. You got to go $5 million on off the field staff. You got to go a couple $100 million in facilities. And then you got to put another $3 or $4 million into recruiting, not the staffing, but the actual recruiting. There's a lot of schools that don't want to win football games that bad.
No, they like that. Like, I'll be honest, like Vanderbilt likes the idea that we're going to get another big check. And as long as we have a competent, it looks like our guys are lined up the right way, we'll fire a coach every 3-4 years.
I think you could go a lot deeper than that. I think you could go to the Mississippi States of the world, the Arkansas of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what I call
in the ACC, there's probably half the teams.
Power 5 JV.
Yeah.
Most of those schools know that at best we're a stepping stool program. So our best year will compete. If we look into it, we may win our division.
May get a New Year's Six Bowl.
For the most part, we're going to be a finish second or third in our division, and we're going to be okay with that unless we strike like Kentucky and you get a Stoops that's happy and he's winning, and you're able to, okay, well, he's winning in spite of, we'll give him a little bit more to.
Their facilities are phenomenal too.
Right. What I'm saying, like, keep up the good work. We ain't finna match Georgia or Bama, but here's what we can do. I also think that what Florida's doing right now, what Napier's doing a better job of, is catching lightning in a bottle and making sure that they keep letting people see it.
Yeah.
They don't have any more, not that much more staff than what Mullen had. It's just what they have is a better job of creating titles, probably paying a little bit more money to some people who are really, really good, and it's fresh.
They have, when it's completed, they'll have 8 more staff members.
Okay, I'm saying, but
when it's completed,
yeah. Like when they were rolling out
the announcement, right. Don't hold me to that.
I think it was like 10 at that time. It was 10 off-field assistants and then like when you go look at most of the schools, they all have the 10, but those departments are going to be deeper. And there's going to probably be names that we don't even get to know.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head too. It could be just a different title that now is rolled into that football office that maybe it was already there.
But like this, like graphics is a huge thing that Alabama paid attention to earlier, and I think Georgia did as well. Florida State started doing it. And a lot of South Carolina had a really good one to Joe Johnson, who's actually
Florida State set the bar high with that MLK.
That story. I told you that story, right?
Yeah.
Literally, everybody told him no. He was in a staff meeting.
Is it bad that that's what I think of on MLK Day now?
Right. Like
of MLK wearing a Mickey Mouse size Florida State glove?
Yeah, I'll never forgive Turbo for that. Because I remember when I got the story, like I remember I got the text with what it was before it got put out by my boy.
And you're like, this isn't real.
My boy was like, yo, you'll never believe what Turbo was about to put out. I'm gonna be like, what was he about to put out? And he sends us this. He's like, yeah, he asked me if this was it. And I said, hell no, that's not it. Then he asked Tag, what do you think? He said, man, and Tag, to his defense, he still disobeyed him. But Tag should have just put the kibosh on it wholeheartedly.
Should let me see it and deleted it.
He tried. He said, if you put that on the football recruiting page, like he said, don't put that on the football recruiting page. He said, okay. So he released it on his own page on Twitter at first. And he got a lot of traction. I guess he got enough confidence to say, you know what?
Bump tag.
When this is successful, he'll thank me. And then all it did was create headaches.
It was successful. Like, we're still talking about it.
Man, Turbo.
They say all media is good media?
Yeah. And then Turbo was mad at other people like they got him fired. Like, no, Turbo, you got your own self fired with that. But what I mean is
the best graphics ever.
What I mean is like guys are like, they're sending out data, they're sending out things, they're keeping kids engaged, keeping people engaged. I think Florida's done a really good job with keeping the fan base engaged with a fan base that has an insatiable appetite.
Yeah.
Florida State fans have learned now, and I keep telling them, I ain't reporting nothing when it ain't nothing to report. Like, I ain't just out here just putting out nonsense.
You mean you didn't report Carson back to Florida State?
Right. I have to keep telling people that. I'm like, yo, Carson's training for a national championship right now. Carson might be the starting quarterback next year. Why don't y'all just hold off until after spring? Yeah. See if he's not named, and then maybe start the rumors again. Or I made this state. So people were talking about potential coordinators coming to Florida State in October. Like they were telling me who
defensive coordinators.
Fuller's getting fired. There's like Dillingham's getting fired. All these guys are getting fired. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you guys, but like, not here to say things aren't going to happen, but ain't nobody working this damn hard knowing they're not coming back.
Right.
And I know you'll listen to it, but the guy who I've defended a ton, like everybody's like, who are we hiring that wide receiver coach? It's like Ron Dugan's our receiver coach. They're like, how can you say that? I said, dog, I just saw Ron. He was asking me about 2025 kids, not for his own personal pleasure. 2025 kids that can play at Florida State. Ain't nobody recruiting 2025 if you know you ain't got no job at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they're not going to just spring it up on you. Like, you're going to, like, yeah, you may go through, like, bottom line is it wouldn't happen. The only one I said, this is what I said. The only way Coach Norvell is getting rid of coaches is if those coaches get a better job. And that's what happened with Dillingham and what happened with Brunch Boots. What's his name? Anyways, a linebacker coach.
I don't even know if I should say this on here, but I'm going to because it was so funny. I had to keep myself from a troll moment the other day. So I got a call from a staff member at Florida State asking me about one of our quarterbacks. They said, do you feel like he is a legitimate blue blood, Power 5, top of the line prospect? And I almost said to them, oh, is somebody else going to call me about him?
Yeah.
Like, are you talking about Florida State or are we talking about Alabama? Like, which one is it? But I bit my tongue and did not. Because I figured that probably wouldn't have been the best thing for the relationship. talking about on radio is probably not either, but it was funny, man. But you know what? Too,
but you'll get that from everybody. It's kind of like going back to not UMass, UConn. Remember you had the kid from the UConn, and he was like, "Whoa." You gave them a guy that had offers from all the top. I don't feel like he's a UConn.
He's not a UConn guy.
Like, bitch, who the fuck? Like,
you ain't won in 10 years. I'm a UConn guy at this point.
I said UConn ain't won nothing in the NCAA since I played with him on a video game. And I had the #1 recruiting class. I was probably dropping bags on the video game before people could even realize that.
No, it's fun. It's all in fun. I really like all the staffs in the state of Florida right now. I don't really know that many guys at Miami.
Well, he hasn't finished yet.
But even UCF, and y'all know my history with Gus. They get it. Like they get it.
Got
they
a guy,
understand it.
Bolden. He was off field for Mullen at Florida.
Yeah.
And now he just went over there to
and
UCF.
They brought Kamari Gamble over.
Right.
Right. Even USF with the staff that they've put together, like the state of Florida right now has probably got the strongest recruiting that it's had collectively in a long, long time. It's not going to stop Georgia and Alabama and all them from plucking guys from. That's not going to happen. Well, it's not even really cause that much resistance. If you want to win, I thought about this. Look at the national championship game. You think about the national championship game.
The players from Florida who made plays?
Well, no, I'm going to go deeper than that. Maybe two of the best players on the field were the two tight ends, right? One from California, one from Arizona.
Right.
Probably the best player on the field. Well, no, we're going to get to the linebacker in a second, but probably the guy everybody was talking about
from Alabama.
Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe Dean. No.
Nakobe Dean. But Bryce Young is from California. Right. And so Georgia right now, you could make the argument that Georgia doesn't need Florida as bad as Florida needs Atlanta. Like you got to start to creep. You can't just keep them out of your backyard anymore. You got to creep into their backyard.
Right. When Bobby was successful, he got, actually during the time with Spurrier and whoever Miami's coach was, they've always recruited well since they put an emphasis on football. But Bobby was getting who he wanted out of the state of Florida. And he wasn't just going to South Carolina and getting a 3-star kid. There's nothing wrong with that. He was going to South Carolina and getting South Carolina's best prospect.
Yep.
He was going to North Carolina and getting the best prospect in North Carolina. He was going other places like Travis Johnson, for example, was #1 D tackle in the state of California, one of the top D tackles in the nation when he came out. But you know what? Darnell Dockett, the best player in the DMV. Like you weren't just going. When you went out of state, you went and got the best.
The argument back then, and even as recent as a decade ago, was why are you going to spend time in California recruiting one kid when you could recruit 20 in Florida? That's not even valid anymore because your staff's so big. You can still recruit the 20 in Florida,
right? Which is why you
got a private jet now.
Which is why you need to. The way I've always seen is this: if I ever became a head coach, I could be a head coach in high school. Don't even matter. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna cheat. Like I'm gonna be like Denny. Like Denny's reformed. I'm not. If I was a head coach, now as an assistant, I don't care enough. But if this is my livelihood, this is what we're gonna do.
My name's attached to that record.
Name's attached to this record. We're going to have I forgot what. Let's just say it's 10. I don't know what you can have in high school. We're gonna have 10 on-field coaches.
Yeah, as many as you want.
Whatever the stipends go. Now, what I'm going to do also, I know that I can have a nonprofit. I'm going to have the MFTK Academy, MFTK Slush Fund.
Okay.
We're going to have 10 coaches out of the MFTK Slush Fund. I'm going to have 10 coaches from out of the school. I'm going to have 10 community coaches. I'm going to have 5 coaches, and their job is to go coach some good Pop Warner teams.
I like where you're going.
I'm going to have 5 other coaches. Your only job. I don't need you I don't need you in meetings. On Saturdays, I need you, or Tuesdays here in the afternoon, because that's when Duval County Middle School plays. I think Wednesdays is when St. Johns County plays. Saturdays, Pop Warner. Your job is to go watch these specified games. Our school zone, need you to keep it in the school zone. But I also need you to go other places to figure out what's hot.
In Duval, like that's everywhere.
I need to know who's the best receivers, who's the best quarterbacks, who's coming up.
I like it.
And then we're going to do graphics. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. I'm going to have a guy whose job is to talk to college coaches and recruit and go to
2 or 3 though.
Go to the coach of the year, coaches clinics. Go.
You don't want to do
relationships. Nah, I just need to come in. Hey, coach, I need to see such and such. Fine. Here.
I like it.
But so I'm going to pattern in it. So I don't understand why any college wouldn't have aren't prepared to have 30 to 50 personnel in your football department. You should have easily 30 to 50.
I like that.
And on the college side is, I'll get high school, and I will get student assistants to start learning the game.
You got me wanting to get back into coaching.
Just saying, it's really not hard. Like if you're not out here, if you don't got, it's all about information. And if I could, actually part of the slush fund, you got fired from your last coaching spot. Come on over here and
James Coleman Rehab Clinic.
And come to the James Coleman Rehab Clinic. I need to know how you're going to beat me. Your job every week is when we have our scrimmages. It ain't the coaching staff. No, my coaching staff is going to be over here with me. We coaching up the first and second string. You take the backups and walk-ons.
Try to beat us.
And you beat us. And if you beat us, you get an extra $500 or something a week.
I like this.
If you lose, I'm not going to take nothing from you, but I need you to be engaged.
Your game day is on Tuesday.
Right.
Like, yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this.
So that's what my thought is.
Miles, get us Northeast Florida, please. Get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa. If I were going to get back into coaching, I'd have to go there because I'd need more energy, a lot more energy. They got some new stuff coming in that James and I are going to try out next week and tell you about next week as well. You want to get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa if you're not feeling well or something just doesn't feel right about you. Don't go on living that way. Get that fixed. Go see the docs at Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa, and they'll get you right. Real quick, I found this. The 247 did this thing at the Army All-American Bowl, and I'm always interested by these.
Is it the Army All-American, or is it just the All-American Bowl?
Whatever it is.
So I think Army snatched the.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever it is, 247 did this thing, and I always like these surveys, especially like surveys of high school kids, because one thing high school kids are is honest, right? And so they surveyed 88 players, and the question was simple. Who has the best facility? So these are guys who went anywhere they wanted to go on their visits, fresh off of them. And as old people, we can sit here and talk about facilities all we want. But what do the young people like?
Yep.
All right, number 1 with 12 out of the 88 votes, first place votes, Oregon.
Of course.
Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, this one's surprising to me, Notre Dame.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
4, Alabama, 5, Ohio State, 6, Clemson, 7, Michigan. Now, when you get outside of really 4, you're talking about people who got like 5 votes out of the 88, right? So I went and I Googled Oregon's facilities because I haven't done that in a while. And what I found was, 1, they're dope. They're unbelievable. But 2, they don't let anything get old. James, they have this beautiful indoor. You've seen their indoor, right? You've seen the pictures of it. Did you know their new one opens in 2024?
I didn't know that.
Exactly. They don't tell anybody about it. It's just, bam, here's a new indoor. And it's like some absurd amount of money, and the renderings are unbelievable. And the ground has been broken on it. And so it goes back to what our conversation about off-field budgets are. Now you're talking about schools who they ain't worried about. Like Florida's been worried about this football only in Florida State too. How are we paying for this football only facility for 10 freaking years? Oregon's done built like 9 buildings.
Well, part of it is and Miami's about to do it. They haven't done it fully yet, but they've essentially done it. Or the guy has slick talked his way into doing it. Ruiz. And the COVID funds from the hospital. Now, actually, my partner told me that this is a whole podcast in of itself. Florida's done something similar too with UF Health. Okay. And Florida State was proposed to do the same thing with Tallahassee Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
healthcare ain't going nowhere no time soon.
Right. No, absolutely not. No.
They're trying.
It's a booming business.
They're trying to say, buy this hospital with your med school, use it as research, bring in the money. Now you have more money.
Smart.
So Miami fans hate the Donna M. Night Shyamalan, whatever her name was. You wouldn't have the opportunity you have right now without her brokering that deal for that hospital. She's the one who did it.
Somebody's getting the money from it.
Right. So like now it's
might as well be you
shifting it away from teachers and their bonuses into the football program. That's true. That's all documented. It's not me trolling. That I applaud you.
Well, it's not going to matter anyway because there will be no teachers in 10 years.
Facts.
It's a terrible profession.
Ruiz coming in and saying, I want to do some, even though a lot of it was BS, like you're not going to just move a school to build a 50,000 seat stadium.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. But I applaud you for having that. I say Ruiz because on a smaller scale, he's their Uncle Phil. Phil Knight literally, like, who's going to deny him a loan? He's got an endless budget.
No, he probably don't need a loan.
No, but he's not spending his own.
Because you know what I mean?
If he does, like, he goes and says, yo, I'm going to basically greenlight the project, or what do you call, I'll back it if they can't finance it. And
you think it's co-signed?
And then it gets, he's basically, that's all he's doing. Yeah. Like he's got billions, but I guarantee you he's not stroking $100 million check.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but on some level, he may be because of a write-off for Nike.
That's true too.
He is kind of the perfect.
Right. He's Florida has the orange people. Like I can't even think of my guy's name. Stumpy.
Oh yeah. And they've also got Gatorade money.
Right. No, I wasn't just gonna, but I'm saying they've got a collection of bull gators.
That's my point. They're not even being mentioned. There's not a vote there for Florida. Like that's kind of my point.
What I meant was, like, what I'm saying is, until those guys step up and say, this is what's important to me for it, because this is what recruiters say they need, it won't be. Right now, we've known Oregon's going, that's crazy, they're building a new one. 22, because this would be my 20th, this is my 20th anniversary. In May, I would have graduated from high school 20 years ago.
Okay. That'd be a reunion. 20th
reunion. Anniversary, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew about Oregon's facilities then.
Yeah.
They were talking about LCD screens.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the locker. They were talking about things that were like, and I didn't even really, to be honest, I didn't even know what an LCD screen really was then. I remember there used to be a store in the mall that had flat screens, and those things were like $10,000 for like a 32-inch flat screen. And Oregon has those in every locker.
Yep.
So it's kind of like innovation in Oregon is like Nike creating a new shoe.
And that's their new indoor. Their new indoor is going to be solar panel, to where they're saying it will power all the buildings around it. So it's like going to be the most energy efficient building ever. Yeah.
Like, so even like, for example, they build that, and that's, if it can fuel the entire university, write a check for itself.
Right.
And then what happened, what should happen, and I know people don't like this, but if it's not football at your school, whatever the breadwinner is, Duke basketball. When Duke's basketball,
Florida State basketball.
Right. Right now, definitely.
It's a good game last night.
When Duke is done with their basketball facilities,
Florida gymnastics.
Yeah. Man, they got, I don't know who, man, this black girl did some stuff the other day. I had to retweet it. I saw where she went to school. I was like, man, it was good though. But when basketball is done, build them a new O'Connell. Well, not O'Connell. I don't know. O'Connell's gymnastics and basketball at Florida. So build them when basketball's done doing what they need to do, and it's time to get a new one. Now you donate that to football or volleyball or whoever, while you're building them something new. Like when the Florida State builds a new.
Well, that's what they just did with baseball at Florida. They built the new baseball stadium because they needed that land for the football only facility that the old baseball stadium was on.
See, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, knock something down.
Yep. And the new baseball stadium is amazing.
I think a lot of times people are like, it's not just with Title IX, but it's with other stuff. Like people are, well, it's not fair to well, you know what? You're not saying that when you're giving Billy Napier $30 million to pay for coaches.
Yep.
Like if it's not fair, they make it fair all the way around. Every coach, this is what your coaching stipend is to be here at Florida. or Florida State or wherever.
Make it universal.
If
make it an NCAA thing.
Now, if we're going to be honest, like adults, then let's just be life ain't fair. This is what's bringing in the money. We're going to invest in what brings in the money. And if you want to make more money, make your sport more.
When it becomes fair is when you have a kid who can play at that level. Then you love it.
Oh, well, yeah.
Then you love it.
Yeah, like a soccer dad, like if you're a soccer coach at FSU who wins multiple national championships, and you should be, I should be paid more, or we should have more until you realize that your son has no interest in soccer, but he's a football phenom,
and you see what comes.
And see what comes with that. Now you're like, oh,
I get it.
It's okay.
Let's get to mock draft real quick. Let's get to Green Acres. Green Acres Sporting. Get to greenacresporting.com. How was the tent
sale? Went good. Sold a lot of guns.
Blow it up.
Blew it up. They still have. You still got to go there, check out. They still have things that they're trying to get rid of inventory. The AR-15 is still $499, 30 cal. Don't know much about what that is, except for that it put a large hole in something. And right now they're pushing all that stuff out because the middle of March, it's turkey season.
Oh,
so we're trying to get ready to hunt turkey. So hopefully that'll be my next video.
You gonna go turkey hunting?
Do something. Be out there with. I got to find out what they dress like.
Who, turkeys?
No, but the people who hunt turkeys dress like. And I want to do the noise.
The little gobble thing.
You can't use bait.
Right.
It's illegal in the state of Florida, but you got to like put up like little decoys, and then you got to make the noise.
You know what'd be cool about turkey hunting though is it don't have to be cold, right?
No, it's March, so it should be fairly getting warmer.
Why does every other thing look like everybody's freezing when they're hunting?
Because it's not just that you're freezing. Like you're up at the butt. Like to hunt deer, you're up at the butt crack of dawn, and all you're doing is sitting down.
What do deer do when it's warm?
Obviously, run my neighborhood.
But you know what I mean? Why can't we hunt when it's warm?
I don't know. I don't even know when deer hunting season is. All I know is about black gunpowder season, which I had to ask them, is there a white gunpowder season? But whatever. I don't even know what white gunpowder would be. But the turkey, you just say it's wild turkey, so it's not the turkey you get in the.
Well, I hope it's wild turkey. You'd be a terrible person if you're rolling up on somebody's farm shooting their turkeys.
I was wondering, like, do they is this the turkey that I eat during Thanksgiving? And if so, why am I hunting them in March? It's a long time to keep something fresh.
That's true.
But those are farm.
We got a lot of hunting. We need to have somebody come in for a hunting segment because I have a lot of hunting questions. Mock draft season right now. It's that time of year, and here in Jacksonville, it's a big time of year for us because it's the best time of year because we always draft high. And so, all these mock drafts start with Jacksonville. But specifically, I want to talk about quarterbacks this year because there's this thing going on right now where we saw it a few years back with Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, where you had a draft. I think it was those two. You had a draft that didn't have any
big name,
anybody that really validated a top 5 pick. But those two were shoved because people had needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went, didn't they go 1 and 2 or something like that?
Yeah. Wentz definitely went 1.
I thought Goff.
No, Goff. Whatever
it was. This is the same thing. And I've seen these mock drafts come out, and it's relevant in Jacksonville because if somebody falls in love with a quarterback and needs a quarterback bad enough, then you can trade that pick back. So there's 2 things about this draft that I want to ask you about. One, is the quarterback position that valuable that in a year, because Kenny Pickett is not a number 1 overall pick. He's not. But there are mock drafts that have Jacksonville trading back and the Giants trading up because they have 2 first-rounders to get Kenny Pickett. And then there's other mock drafts that have Kenny Pickett going 18, 19, which I think is closer
better
to where he may go 1, he may go 2, but I think that's closer to where he's kind of slotted. And then you're seeing, things about Matt Corral, who I think is the best quarterback in the draft. You're seeing Malik Willis at Liberty. You're even seeing Sam Howell sneak into the first round of a couple of mock drafts. So the quarterback thing is something to keep an eye on. Last year, there was a time where the first 4 picks were mocked as quarterbacks, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The bigger question I have for you, though, this is a question year round is, do you take the best player available or do you fit a need? And here's where I'm going to go with this. Like, there's these things that say you cannot draft this position at number 1,
mm-hmm.
right? There's 2 guys in this draft that I look at, and I haven't looked at all of them, that I go, those dudes are all Pro Bowl players for 10 years.
I'm not turning out Evan Neal.
Okay, he's not even one of them.
Oh, wow.
There's 2 dudes, and maybe I'm saying this because they're not traditional number 1 overall pick positions. Nakobe Dean.
Okay.
Nakobe Dean is as safe of a draft pick as you can make at number 1 or number 5 or number 10 or number 15. Mm-hmm. And your boy from Notre Dame, the safety, is it Hamilton?
Oh, yeah.
Like those 2 guys right there, why can't you take them?
Those guys aren't even all right. You should. I think what people get.
By the way, Devin White, we had the same conversation about a few years ago. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
We were saying, take that joker number 1.
Here's why that is popular thought. It's because there's whole fields that are created based off of the NFL draft. And a lot of these people have no real, and I'm not saying this in a condescending manner, they don't really have anything like on their resume outside of what they do as a profession to make you believe what it is that they say. So what they have to do is they have to come up with terminology and stats and data points that validate what they're saying outside of the fact that I just played, which works sometimes. There has to be a nerd component to some of these things. But it also goes back to like a lot of the jokes, like who's Mel Kiper when the guy was saying this, or like how many times has Mel Kiper been wrong? Like all of these drafts, forget the regular rounds, the 32 picks, 28 at a time, all the way up to 32, year in and year out. What is it? 4 in the first round consistently work out, if that.
You're talking about for the team,
like for the long, in the grand scheme of things, for the long run.
Maybe I would say closer to like 6 or 7. But
let's just go like
very
each
low
year,
percentage.
which is very low percentage of people. So like, if you knew that drafting this person, you felt so good about drafting this person that you just, if there's no injury that happens, I'm signing him to a second contract. There's no need not to do it. And I think it made more sense before the guaranteed pay, the rookie pay, with the rookie pay scale. You can't draft Nakobe Dean first overall because what he's going to require to get paid, the valuation of paying that linebacker that without any kind of cap throws you off. Like imagine him with a Sam Bradford contract.
Right.
Even if he produces, it's just nobody's ever paid this position that much money.
Right.
It goes back to when I came out, Mario Williams. The real reason Mario Williams got drafted over Reggie Bush was because Mario Williams was willing to accept what the Texans were going to pay, which at the time was good money for a defensive end. A top tier running back / slot receiver were going to get paid a lot more. So that's part of the reason why people still have this antiquated idea. But if you tell me, like right now, if I'm the Jags and I got the first overall pick, and 2 of my big needs is safety and linebacker, and I know I'm not paying this guy no more than $7 million. I just got done paying a guy $10 million to trade him for like a late pick to Pittsburgh. You damn real I'm taking Nakobe Dean if all things being equal.
Yeah, I just don't. You make a great point. I didn't think about with the salary thing and with the cap and all that rookie cap. I didn't think about that, but
it's why drafting quarterbacks isn't that bad anymore. Like why you can talk about the Giants who just drafted a quarterback can be talking about trading back to get Kenny. Well, hopefully trading up to get Kenny Pickett. Because you can afford to keep 2 quarterbacks on your roster.
That's a good point.
Now.
No, that's a good point. I think that every draft has generational talent at a position.
Right.
Last year it was quarterback. Last year there were a lot of quarterbacks. This year it's not quarterback. I feel like they're trying to cram defensive end down our throats.
They are.
I don't
because that's the new. Well,
it's not a quarterback. It's got to be a defensive end, right? Like so, that's.
Ever since Blindside, before that. But no, I'm saying Blindside actually made it to where the general public could understand why you need a franchise left tackle and what a defensive end blitzing off the quarterback's blindside can actually changed. So like that was the first time it was spelled out in layman's terms. So even if you're like your mom can know about it now. She may not watch a lick of football, but mom, remember the movie Blindside? Oh, that's why the guy gets paid that much money. But we also know about Kayvon was the first guy to go viral with his recruitment in recent times. Thibodeau, yeah. So
I think he's about to go for a free fall.
I hope so, because one, he's a liar.
Yeah.
Now, if he's there later on, pick him.
Yeah.
But when my man clearly said he dominated 2 of the tackles that were in the championship game, and then I'm like, dude, in a world where everything's recorded, why would you say that?
Yeah.
They showed him getting beat unmercifully. But him and Hutchinson, I think, are the ones that are trying to put
me,
it
like I hate when guys do this, and I'm doing it with Hutchinson. I hate when guys use their worst game against them, but man, I can't get over what Georgia did to him.
No, you rightfully so. Unless I didn't see the Ohio State game. Did he just truly stand out?
Indomitian sued Ohio State.
Well, then that would be what happens. Because Ohio State is on par with Georgia.
But I've watched a lot of Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe Dean stands out.
He's
every
unbelievable.
Game. The only person I truly believe is better than him is Anderson at Bama.
You really think so?
I do. But he's also a year behind him.
See, I would take Nakobe Dean 10 out of 10 times.
I would not turn Nakobe Dean down.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I just – and then the Hamilton kid at Notre Dame, I saw all I needed to see in the Florida State game. But then 2 nights ago, I was just thinking, I'm like, man, I want to go see. So I looked up his highlights. Dude, he did it all year.
He is.
All year. That dude made plays that defied logic.
Everybody talked about. I still can't forget that interception.
That was unreal.
Should not have happened.
No.
Like, everybody's like, Jordan, this is why Jordan Travis. I said, dude, that man, it don't matter. Joe Montana could have thrown that. That ball was getting picked.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those.
You don't even read where he's at on the field.
Right. Like, you can't.
That's not even something you look at. And he went all the way across the field to pick a ball that wasn't in the air that long.
Right. He just, I wouldn't run a 40 if I was him. That would be my 40. Like, this is what I do. But I think, to the point, so you got those two that, I haven't even really looked at who all is in the draft like that. There's Evan Neal. But if you can't get Evan Neal, I'm fine with that. Because there's a kid, Charles Cross, who played at Mississippi State, who's a phenomenal left tackle.
I'm going to go to this mock.
There's some guys that you could get that if I'm historically bad, like the Jags, or I don't care. I just need to know, are you going to be here in 6 years? Yeah. If I can draft somebody that I know will be here for 6 years, then I know I'm going to be okay. And that's what you got to start finding, pieces that fit, that you believe are going to make you good for at least another recruiting, a high school recruiting cycle.
Hey, did you already post the thing I was talking about earlier? Oh dear.
You getting messages about it?
Yeah.
The Florida State one?
No, the Florida one about Napier poaching.
Somebody said bad stuff about it.
Well, Matt Hayes. Matt Hayes retweeted it.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get a lot of love on that.
Yeah, I was trying to find we'll do it another time. We do need to go through like a couple mock drafts and just start to learn who we're talking. I really like, I don't even know his name, but I also looked Burke from Arkansas, the receiver.
Okay.
Whoo, nasty, bro. Nasty. I'm not as sold on Arkansas now as I was now that I realized they had this joker. He's like, that dude is a game changer. He's one that I think when everything's said and done, he'll be top 10. Maybe the first receiver taken now that Jameson Williams, is out. But yeah, there's a couple dudes I think you're going to see shoot up the board. It's going to be an interesting draft. You got anything?
As far as the draft goes?
No, anything. We didn't get into McCray flipping the bird off and then running from the cops.
That would have been awesome. We may need to keep that for
Friday. Let's keep that for Friday because I want to break that down. We need video of that.
The only thing that I have is, and it's really it's just a weird thing. And we ain't got to spend much time on it. It's just people got to make up their mind, right? Like, especially in the state of Alabama. Now, Nick Saban, GOAT. Way better at his job than 99% of the population has ever been at their job. Is that fair to say?
Nice. Yes, you're being nice. Whatever is the next digit under 100%.
Right. Okay. Saban has only done two things political that have been like in the forefront.
Okay.
So like one, and both of the times it's kind of like one of those situations where it's less of, oh, here goes Saban being political again. And it's more of, oh shit, how bad was it that this man got to speak on? This man don't speak on anything like that.
What's the second one? What's another one?
But this is what I'm getting to.
Okay.
Recently, so right now there's which affects us more than just this bill being passed. Like some of us have military spouses, some of us depend on government services that a filibuster, like, or something, when they hold up, basically shut down the government, you don't get paid. Like you need these things to happen. There's one person that's kind of, he's not the only person, but he's the person that's close. It is a senator from out of West Virginia. Obviously, that's where Saban's from. So basically the 5 greatest West Virginians of all time have compiled and wrote a letter to this guy. And some right-wing hack, and I'm not doing this to split side. That's kind of what this guy does. He obviously doesn't know who Nick Saban is. He states, I just wish that stick to coaching football and stay out of politics, blah, blah, blah. And you should be fired with cause from the University of Alabama. And I'm like, and then it's funny. I'm like, so, and then he, like a couple months ago, he put something like, cancel culture is worse than the pandemic. But like, you literally just essentially asked for somebody to be canceled, which I agree, kind of. Please, University of Alabama, you should fire Nick Saban right now for standing up and understanding where his bread is buttered. Please fire him for the sake of all things sacred.
All things college football.
All things college football. In Florida State, I will, and I like this guy, I will put everything in my account toward the buyout for Mike Norvell to go bring Nick Saban to Tallahassee. It's no knock on you, Mike. It's just
Mike would give his buyout up.
My point is this.
I get it.
The craziest thing though is in Alabama. Alabama, this is a state where a guy like this would make this statement, but they hired Tommy Tuberville as a representative. Like, it's not
West Virginia. He's West Virginia.
No, he's from Alabama. But the guy who wrote it was like,
okay.
But it was West Virginia is where Saban. Plus, we all know what's happening when Saban's done at Bama. He's either running the country or he's running Alabama.
Right. We already said we'd vote for him for president.
Oh, without a doubt.
We already said that.
Without a doubt. But
I don't even need to see a debate.
There will be no debate.
He can pop in late October.
He would be the opposite of what 4-5 was. It ain't gonna be a bunch of talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna do it. So quit asking. Like, that's what he's gonna say. I just, like, anyway. My point is just that, guys, people are multiples. Like, nobody is a monolith. Nobody only does one thing. And typically, if somebody that good has something to say about something that he normally doesn't, it's typically when you kind of want to.
Because he's not the kind that's out there spewing it all the time, to your point. It's like he waits.
He waits. Like, and the only and each time he does it, it seems like he's aggravated that he had to do something about it.
Oh, he's aggravated to get up in the morning, it seems like.
I'm telling you, man, when that man, you know what? Now I know why he was mad. One, he was in penny loafers when he was doing the march with his players. And then 2,
no socks.
And then 2, he always talks about how he has to start his day with oatmeal pies and like some coffee. 2 oatmeal pies and a coffee. And that definitely was a hitch. That was oatmeal pie list.
Wow.
His oatmeal pies are delicious.
Wow.
But that's my.
All right, we got to get. We went a little long, actually. Yeah. We got to get out of here. We'll talk to you guys on Friday. Make sure you go to ABC. Make sure you go to thehumidor.com. Type in sportsden. Get 20% off your order. At thehumidor.com. All things cigars right there at thehumidor.com. We'll talk to you guys on Friday.